Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change.
House Number 8800, converting the municipality of Claver in the province of Surigao del Norte into a component city to be known as the City of Claver.
To the Committees on Local Government, Electoral Reforms, and People's Participation.
10216, creating the municipality of Don Mariano Peralta, province of Davao Occidental. House Number 10217, anak merging barangays 9, 10, 11, 16, 18, 25, and 28 in Ormoc, province of Leyte, and constituting them into a distinct and independent barangay to be known as Barangay East. 10218, merging barangays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 15, 17, 23, and 27 in the city of Ormoc, Leyte, and constituting them into a distinct and independent barangay to be known as Barangay South. 10219, merging barangays 14, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, and 26, City Ormoc, province of Leyte, and constituting them into a distinct and independent barangay to be known as Barangay West. 10221, creating a barangay to be known as Barangay Pag-asa, Municipality of Calamansig, Sultan Kudarat. 10222, creating a barangay to be known as Barangay Tikpalas, Municipality of San Miguel, Province of Bulacan. 10223, separating the city of New Canaan from Barangay Pag-asa in Alabel, Sarangani, and constituting it into a distinct and independent barangay to be known as Barangay Canaan.
To the Committees on Local Government, Electoral Reforms, and People's Participation and Finance.
11299, recognizing Singapore School Cebu as an educational institution of international character, granting certain prerogatives conducive to its development and growth. 11300, reorganizing Singapore School Clark as an educational institution of international character, granting certain prerogatives conducive
These are
to its
omnibus bills. Just mention the number, please. These are the same.
House Number 11300, House Number 11301, and House Number 11302.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Ways and Means.
11351, converting the Patag Elementary School in Patag Municipality of Erosin, Province of Sorsogon, into an integrated school to be known as the Patag Integrated School, appropriating funds therefore.
The Committees on Basic Education and Finance.
11326, converting the Samar National School of Arts and Trade in Taft, Province of Eastern Samar, into a polytechnic institution to be administered and supervised by the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, appropriating funds therefore.
The Committees on Higher Technical and Vocational Education and Finance.
11342, establishing a College of Medicine in the Eastern Samar State University in the city of Barongan, province of Eastern Samar, appropriating funds therefore. 11343, strengthening the Mindanao State University system, appropriating funds therefore. 11344, converting the Davao del Norte State College in Panabo into a state university. 11346, establishing a College of Medicine in Mindanao State University, General Santos City, in General Santos City, province of South Cotabato. 11347, establishing a College of Medicine in the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Quezon City campus, and appropriating funds therefore. And House Number 11348, establishing a College of Medicine in Northeastern Mindanao State University main campus in Tandag, Surigao del Sur, appropriating funds therefore.
To the Committees on Higher Technical Vocational Education, Ways and Means, and Finance.
11327, renaming the Abra de Ilog Municipal Hospital in Abra de Ilog, Occidental Mindoro to Abra de Ilog Community Hospital. And House Number 11328, renaming the Far North General Hospital and Training Center in Luna, Apayao to Elias K. Bulot Senior General Hospital and Medical Center.
To the Committee on Health and Demography.
Letter from the House informing the Senate that on 3 February 2025, it designated Representatives Go, Gonzales Jr., and Maxino as conferees of the Conference Committee on the disagreeing votes on House Number 9989, strengthening the Don Honore Ventura State University by renaming it as the Pampanga State University, expanding its curricular offerings and the composition of the governing board, appropriating funds therefore.
The Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House informing the Senate that on 3 February 2025, it designated Representatives Gato Jr., Kimbo, Asidre, Vergara, Garin, Tan, and Libanan as conferees of the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 6772, granting the President of the Philippines the power to suspend and adjust the period of implementation of the scheduled increase of premium rates for direct contributors of the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, amending for the purpose RA 11223 and House Number 11357, strengthening the Philippine healthcare system to achieve efficiency and equity, and to improve public health emergency preparedness, amending Republic Act Number 11223, the Universal Healthcare Act, and Senate Number 2620, amending Republic Act number 11223, otherwise known as the Universal Healthcare Act.
The Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House informing the Senate that on 3 February 2025, designated Representatives Gato Jr., Marquez, Salceda, Miguel, Garin, Asidre, and Lebanon as conference of the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of House Number 6452, establishing the Virology and Vaccine Institute of the Philippines, and Senate Number 2893, establishing a collaborative and complementary research and development system in virology, creating for the purpose the Virology Institute of the Philippines, appropriating funds therefore.
The Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House informing the Senate that on 3 February 2025, it designated Representatives Teng, Salceda, Dionisio Jr., Zamora, and Daza as conferees of the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of House Number 11230, providing for a new charter of the DBP, repealing for the purpose EO 81, otherwise known as the revised charter of the DBP, and Senate Number 2804, providing for a new charter of the Development Bank of the Philippines, for the purpose EO 81 as amended.
To the Archives.
Letter from the House informing the Senate that on 3 February 2025, it designated Representatives Arenas, Sanjuanco III, Alba, Vergara, Arbison Jr., Acheron, and Libanan as conferees of the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of House Number 10466, adjusting the multi-pension benefits of retirees of the DFA, and Senate Number 2863, providing for a pension differential to the Department of Foreign Affairs retirees.
To the Archives.
Letter from the House informing the Senate that on 3 February 2025, it designated Representatives Dalog Jr., Adyong, Arbison Jr., Balindong, and Hataman as conference of the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of House Number 11144, reciting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro region in Muslim Mindanao, amending for the purpose Section 13, Article 16 of RA 11054, and Senate Number 2942, reciting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, amending for the purpose Article 16, Section 13 of RA 11054, otherwise known as the Organic Law of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, as amended.
To the Archives. Secretary is directed to proceed to the additional reference of business.
Additional reference of business, bills on first reading, Senate Number 2983, an act mandating the issuance of Philippine Health Card to all Filipinos, appropriating funds therefore, Senator Go.
The Committee on Health and Demography.
Senate Number 2984, discontinuing the use of the spiral progression approach in the basic education curriculum, deleting for the purpose Section 5, Paragraph G of Republic Act Number 10533, otherwise known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, Senator Gatchalian.
The Committee on Basic Education.
Resolutions. Proposed Senate Resolution 1308, directing the Senate Committee on Energy to investigate price-setting practices of the Mila Electric Company, as well as the rate-setting and other regulatory mechanisms of the Energy Regulatory Commission, Senator Ontiveros.
The Committee on Energy.
1309, directing the Committee on Health and Demography to conduct a thorough review and evaluation and implementation of RA 11223, otherwise known as the Universal Healthcare Act, Senator Ejercito.
The Committee on Health and Demography.
1310, directing the Senate Committee on Accountability of Public Officers and Investigations to conduct an inquiry on the substantial number of inactive, non-operational, invalid, or unused exploration permits and mineral agreements contrary to the declared policy of RA 7942, the Philippine Mining Act of 1995, Senator Escudero.
To the Committee on Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change.
Committee Report 528, jointly by the Committees on Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship, Economic Affairs, and Finance, on Senate Number 2985, with Senators Pimentel III, Villar M., Revilla Jr., Villanueva, Villar C., and Cayetano AP, an act promoting entrepreneurship by institutionalizing a financing program for micro and small enterprises to the Pondo sa Pagbabago at Pag-asenso program, appropriating funds therefore, recommending approval in substitution of Senate Number 75, 1247, 2357, and 2404, taking into consideration House Number 7363, sponsor Senator Cayetano AP.
To the calendar for ordinary business.
529, jointly by the Committees on Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship and Health and Demography, on Senate Number 2986, with Senators Gatchalian, Revilla Jr., Marcos, Go, and Cayetano AP, an act granting enhanced protection to consumers, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 7394, or the Consumer Act of the Philippines as amended, recommending approval in substitution of Senate Numbers 942, 1106, 1302, 1369, and 1785, sponsor Senator Cayetano AP.
To the calendar for ordinary business. Secretary may proceed to the second additional reference of business.
Messages from the House. Letters from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 14, 15, 21, 22, 28 January, and February 3, 2025, it adopted the following Senate bill, Senate Number 2871, as an amendment to House Number 9571, Senate Number 2799 as an amendment to House Number 7752. Senate Number 2797 as an amendment to House Number 10634. Senate Number 2252 as an amendment to House Number 7479. Senate Number 355 as an amendment to House Number 7322. Senate Number 2616 as an amendment to House Number 8202. Senate Number 2615 as an amendment to House Number 8394. Senate Number 2614 as an amendment to House Number 8441. Senate Number 2619 as an amendment to House Number 8504. Senate Number 2618 as an amendment to House Number 8395. Senate Number 1691 as an amendment to House Number 7506. Senate Number 1725 as an amendment to House Number 7529. Senate Number 2814 as an amendment to House Number 6509. Senate Number 2818 as an amendment to House Number 10172. Senate Number 2906 as an amendment to House Number 11186. And Senate Number 2900 as an amendment to House Number 7764.
To the archives.
Letters from the House informing the Senate that on 21, 28 January, and 3 February 2025, it concurred with the Senate amendments to the following House bills. House Number 7406, House Number 5827, House Number 3401, House Number 4275, House Number 5659, House Number 5731, House Number 6556, House Number 8283, House Number 8284, House Number 9047, House Number 9650, House Number 9651, House Number 9652, House Number 9653, House Number 9654, House Number 9655, House Number 9664, House Number 9757, House Number 10671, House Number 10773, House Number 10774, House Number 10775, House Number 10776, House Number 10777, House Number 10778, House Number 10779, House Number 10780, House Number 10781, House Number 1082, House Number 1084, House Number 1085, House Number 10837, House Number 10838, House Number 10839, House Number 5850, House Number 5851, House Number 6158, House Number 8214, House Number 428.
To the archives. Majority Floor Leader. Senate Secretary will proceed.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 27 January 2025, it ratified the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 11199, an act reorganizing the National Economic and Development Authority into the Department of Economy, Planning and Development, and constituting the NEDA Board into the Economic Development Council, repealing for the purpose EO 230 series of 87 and amending EO 292 series of 87, appropriating funds therefore. And Senate Number 2878, reorganizing the National Economic and Development Authority into the Department of Economy, Planning and Development, and reconstituting the NEDA Board into the Economy and Development Council, repealing for the purpose EO 230 series of 87, amending EO 292 series of 87, appropriating funds therefore.
To the archives. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 2982 under Committee Report number 527. This is the bill on the Fiscal Autonomy Act of the Judicial Branch of Government. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of the aforementioned measure is now in order.
Having sponsored the measure, I move to open the period of interpellation and recognize the sponsor, our Minority Leader, Senator Aquilino Comintel III.
The Minority Leader is recognized.
May we know from the Majority Leader if there is a colleague of ours who listed as interested in interpellating, Mr. President?
Mr. President, there being no other reservation for interpellation, I move to close the period of interpellation. The Majority Leader will not interpellate anymore.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Period of amendment is now open. If there are any amendments, Minority Leader.
Well, I just want to state, Mr. President, that during the sponsorship speech, we really tried our best to divulge everything about the bill, Mr. President. Nandun naman, it's a short bill, just 4 pages. So, no amendments, Mr. President.
There being no amendments, Majority Floor Leader.
With no amendment, I move to close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
I move to approve and second reading Senate Bill number 2982. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senate Bill number 2982 is approved on second reading. Majority Floor Leader.
I move that we suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 2982.
There being no objection, motion is approved.
Immediate suspension, Mr. President.
Session is suspended.
Move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 9904 under Committee Report number 454. This is the bill on the amendments to the Charter City of Bacoor. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Having sponsored the measure, I move to open the period of interpellation and, Mr. President, I move that I be recognized to sponsor and to interpellate our minority leader, Senator Aquilino Pimentel III.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The gentleman, the distinguished minority floor leader, is recognized as the sponsor, Senator J.V. Hercito. The gentlemen have the floor.
With the permission of our sponsor, is it? So with the permission of our sponsor, if you
Yes,
can
Mr.
comment.
President.
As
ready
I
to
understand
answer
the
questions.
measure, Mr. President, we are going to recognize by law what the local government unit of Bacoor, Cavite already did through ordinance, which is the merger of certain barangays. Is that the main content of the bill, Mr. President?
Yes, I honor, Mr. President.
Actually, Mr. President, alam niyo yung pag-rationalize ng mga number of barangays, mahirap gawin yan and it really takes a political will. So, kung nagawa ng Bacoor City yan, Mr. President, pwede bang makwentuhan tayo? Ilan po bang, ano pong ginawa nila sa number of barangays nila at inayos nila o na-rationalize po nila?
Yes, Mr. President, according to the author of the proposal, Congressman Lani Mercado Revilla, who is incidentally here as our backstop, the city government found out that of the 73 barangays, 47 are not generating sufficient annual revenues to independently finance their daily operations and support their respective residents. Kaya po, nag-cut sila. So, from 73 barangays,
Naging
47 na lang po. So, baliktad po. Instead of increasing,
Correct.
nag-rationalize sila. So, this
mahirap
would-
gawin yan, Mr.
Mahirap
President.
talaga. This is politically risky, Your Honor, Mr.
and it takes
President.
political will. Kaya nga, so we will congratulate the local government unit of Bacoor City kasi they have demonstrated political will. And I'm sure nagkonsulta din sila. This is with the consent of their constituents affected by the rationalization of the size and the number of their barangays. So yun po yung ginagawa natin. Pinaparecognize natin by law ang ginawa nila by ordinance para saan po? Bakit kailangan gawin yun?
And
Yun lang, di ba?
Your Honor, Mr. President, according to our resource persons, that there's a need to pass an ordinance so that you have to pass a law so that it will be reflected in the charter, Your Honor, Mr. President. And also, second, with regards to the projects, so that the name of the barangays, yung pong location po nila, will be exact po, no? Sa pag nasa GAA po ngayon, maitama, maging consistent na. Kasi po nagbago eh. So, kailangan, it's very important and very crucial that this time that the location of the projects will be accurate, Your Honor, Mr. President.
Pagdating po sa national tax allocation ng mga merged barangays, parang newly created sila merged barangays, natatanggap po ba nila even if they were created by ordinance? Wala pang batas?
Dati meron. Ayan po, in 2020.
Tingnan ko kung natatanggap. Anong sagot na?
Your Honor, Mr. President, according to them, they were able to receive their NTA kasi po pagkakaiba, yung pong ibang barangays that are created by virtue of ordinance, no, by city, municipality or ordinance, without the law, hindi po nabibigay sa kanila yung NTA. But in this case, this is merging. So
Correct.
this is not creation. So
Correct.
they were able to receive their share of the barangays were able to receive their share of the national tax allotment for 2024, Your Honor.
So it's clear that we're not passing this bill for that purpose. Wala palang problem as far as NTA is concerned. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. President. Problema lang yung pag-creation, but this one
Correct.
is merging, Your Honor, Mr. President.
Opo. So, ang ginagawa natin, pinapa-reflect natin yung changes on the ground introduced by City Ordinance, ilalagay na natin ngayon, i-amend natin si Charter of the
Charter.
City of Bacoor para ma-reflect yung changes na yon.
That is correct.
And hopefully, lessen any future problems kung meron man.
That is correct,
Mr.
Mr. President. That is correct.
So with that, Mr. President, it's very clear.
Thank you.
The purpose of the measure is very clear to this representation. So I thank the sponsor for his patience, and congratulations to the City of Bacoor kasi they showed us how to exercise and manifest
Political
political
will, Your
will,
Honor.
Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations to the sponsor. And Chair would like to recognize the presence of Congresswoman Representative Lani Mercado Revilla.
Mr. President, there being no other reservation of interpellation, I move to close the period of
Any
interpellation.
objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
I move to open the period committee of amendments and recognize, Your Honor, this representation myself.
So
Mr. President.
opened, and the gentleman may proceed to propound his individual amendments.
Mr. President, for our committee amendments and as reported out under committee report number 454, I move that we amend House Bill number 9904 by deleting the entire text after the enacting clause and replacing the same with the provisions of House Bill number 9904 contained in the amendment by substitution as attached in committee report number 454. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection to the proposed amendment? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, as the last amendment to the bill, I move to amend the title of the House Bill number 9904 to read as follows. An act merging and renaming certain barangays in the City of Bacoor, Province of Cavite, amending for the purpose Section 10B of Republic Act number 10160 or the Charter of the City of Bacoor as amended. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection to the proposed amendment? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
With no other amendment, I move to close the period of amendments.
Period of amendment is now closed. There being no objection.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 9904.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. The aforementioned House bill is approved on second reading.
I move
Majority
that,
Floor Leader.
I move that we suspend consideration of House Bill number 9904.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we transfer from the calendar for ordinary business to the calendar for special orders, Committee Report number 523 on Senate Bill number 2978. This is the bill on the Moringa Development Act. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Consideration of the bill is now in order. Senate Secretary is directed to read the title of the measure.
An act urging the comprehensive planning, development, and export promotion of the Moringa, locally known as Malunggay, and providing funds therefore.
Majority Leader.
To sponsor the measure, I move to recognize our Mama Bear, Senator Cynthia Villar, Chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture, Food, and Agrarian Reform, to deliver her sponsorship.
Senator Cynthia Villar is recognized to sponsor the measure. You may proceed, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President and Mr. Majority Floor Leader. I rise today to sponsor Senate Bill number 523 under Committee Report number 2978, which seeks to establish a comprehensive framework for the planning, development, and promotion of Moringa, widely known as Malunggay, a plant often referred to as the miracle tree for the exceptional nutritional and medicinal properties. Moringa has long been a staple in Filipino household, particularly in rural communities where it serves as a vital source of nutrition. However, its potential extends far beyond our local markets. With its rich nutritional profile, packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, Moringa is considered a superfood with high demand in the global health and wellness industry. This bill seeks to harness that potential by creating a structured approach to developing the Moringa industry. Through coordinated planning, research, and farmer support, it aims to enhance production, improve product quality, and establish a strong export promotion strategy, positioning the Philippines as a key player in the international Moringa market. To ensure the efficient implementation of this initiative, the bill designates the Department of Agriculture High-Value Crop Development Program as the lead agency in the development of the Moringa industry. The DA High-Value Crop Program will be responsible for formulating policies, providing technical assistance, facilitating market access, and promoting sustainable practices that will benefit Moringa farmers and agri-entrepreneurs. Beyond its economic benefit, this measure promotes sustainable agriculture while providing livelihood opportunities for our farmers and entrepreneurs. By investing in Moringa production, we can generate jobs, lift rural communities, and contribute to economic growth, all while promoting better health and nutrition. With that, Mr. President, I urge my colleagues to support the swift passage of this measure. Thank you.
Majority Floor Leader. Duly noted and entered into the records. Majority Floor Leader.
I move that we suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 2978.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we transfer from the calendar for ordinary business to the calendar for special orders. Committee report number 524 on Senate Bill number 2979. This is the bill on the Agrarian and Agricultural Writing Off or Condonation and Restructuring of Loans Act. So move, Mr.
Any
President.
objection? Hearing none. Senate Secretary is directed to read the title only of the measure.
An act providing for the writing off of loans or condonations of unpaid interest, penalties, and surcharges of loans and loan restructuring secured by farmers, fisher folks, and agrarian reform beneficiaries from the Department of Agrarian Reform, Department of Agriculture, Agricultural Credit Policy Council, Cooperative Development Authority, National Food Authority, and Kedan and Rural Credit Guarantee Corporation.
Majority Floor Leader.
To sponsor the measure, I move to recognize Senator Cynthia Villar, Chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture, Food, and Agrarian Reform. To
Senator
deliver.
Villar is recognized. You may proceed, ma'am, to deliver your sponsorship speech.
Mr. President, I rise today to sponsor Senate Bill 2979 under Committee Report 524, which seeks to write off or condone unpaid loans and restructure the accumulated interest, surcharges, and penalties of dormant agrarian and agricultural loans availed of by our farmers, fisher folks, and agrarian reform beneficiaries. These loans were granted through the Department of Agrarian Reform, Department of Agriculture, Agriculture Credit Policy Council, Cooperative Development Authority, National Food Authority, and Kedan and Rural Credit Guarantee Corporation. Agricultural loans play a critical role in sustaining and growing our agricultural sector. For our farmers and fisher folks, access to credit is essential. It provides them with the capital needed to invest in land, livestock, machinery, technology, and farm inputs. It enables them to increase productivity, combat pests and diseases, and recover from natural disasters. These measures give them a second chance by allowing them to regain access to financing opportunities. By relieving them of the long-standing financial burdens, we empower them to rebuild their livelihood, expand their businesses, explore new markets, and contribute to rural development and food security. The bill also aims to reinstate farmers with unpaid agrarian and agricultural debts into the financial and banking system, ensuring that they are not excluded from future credit opportunities and other government benefits due them. At the same time, it cleanses the books of government agencies by removing non-performing accounts that are over 10 years old. The one-time condonation covers unpaid interest, penalties, and surcharges of loan extended by the Department of Agrarian Reform, Department of Agriculture, Cooperative Development Authority, National Food Authority, the Kedan, and that of the Rural Credit Guarantee Corporation or the Kedan Corp, and those lodged under the Agricultural Credit Policy Council as follows. Department of Agrarian Reform secured through the Credit Assistance Program Beneficiaries Development, 140 million. Dutch Rural Development Assistance Program, 16,531,000. DAR Direct Lending Financing Program, 144,058,000. DAR Special Projects Office Direct Financing Program for ARBs, 187,204,000. DAR Special Projects Office Direct Window 3 Financing Program for ARBs, 487,802,000. National Food Authority Farmer Level Grain Center, 78,605,328.24. Cooperative Development Authority under the Cooperative Development Loan Fund, 367,642,380.68. Agricultural Credit Policy Council, 3,263,301,132.64, and Kedan Core Agricultural Credit Policy Council, 325,627.45, for a total of 6,522,959 and 107. Which loan shall the bill cover and how? Loans that have been uncollectible for more than 10 years. For loans, years shall be fully written off. For loans that are less than 10 years old, the debtor account holder shall be entitled to a one-time condonation of loan interest, penalties, and surcharges only, with the principal debt remaining. Loans with collateral shall not be eligible for condonation even if they have been in existence for over 10 years, but may still qualify for condonation of interest, penalties, and surcharges, while the principal must still be paid. Condonation is an act of compassion on the part of the government. It offers a chance for our agrarian reform beneficiaries, farmers, and fisher folk to regain financial stability, rebuild their credit standing, and return to productive and dignified farming and fishing. With that, Mr. President, I urge my colleagues to support the passage of this measure. Thank you very much.
Noted and entered into the records. Majority Floor Leader.
I move that we suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 2979.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa would like to co-sponsor Senate Bill numbers 2978 and 2979.
Duly noted and entered into the records.
Mr. President, I move that we consider and adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 1299. This is the resolution congratulating and commending Johnny Arcilla for his exceptional career in the sport of tennis and for his recognition as a Philippine-Colombian Association Hall of Famer.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of the measure is now in order. Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized. You may proceed, ma'am.
Mr. President, there's another resolution, so may I ask that I deliver my manifestation will be delivered after the other resolution is also read.
Yes, Mr. President, I move first that we consider and adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 1300. This is the resolution congratulating and commending Marian Jade Cappadocia for her exceptional career in the sport of tennis and for her recognition as a Philippine-Colombian Association Hall of Famer.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senator Pia Cayetano is once again recognized, as I understand, to make a manifestation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Amid suspension, I have some videos or some photos to share while I deliver my manifestation.
Session is suspended. Proceed, ma'am.
Yes, I will proceed, Mr. President, and I believe the pictures and videos will be shown as I speak. Mr. President, we have with us two amazing athletes. One is Johnny Arcilla and the other one is Marian Cappadocia. Johnny holds the male record for the most titles in the Philippine-Colombian Association history. The PCA is known as the biggest and most prominent tennis tournament in the Philippines. Johnny is the 10-time champion in the singles and the 14-time champion in the doubles category. He is the only male Filipino tennis player to achieve such a feat. This incredible feat has earned him a permanent place in the PCA Hall of Fame, where his legacy in Philippine tennis will be immortalized for generations to come. He earned the recognition of the ITF Davis Cup Commitment Award in 2013 for playing in the most Davis Cup ties by any Filipino. This award is given by the ITF to players who have shown long-standing dedication and commitment to represent their country in the Davis Cup over a significant period of time. He first represented the country in 2000 when he was just 19 years old. From 2000 to 2012, Johnny was the undisputed #1 tennis player in the Philippines and reclaimed it again in 2020. And now we go to Marian Cappadocia. Marian holds the most records for the most titles, holds the record for the most titles in the PCA Open history in the female category. In December 2024, she earned her 10th PCA Open Championship title. She is also the only female Filipino tennis player to achieve such a feat. This incredible feat has earned her a permanent place as well in the PCA Hall of Fame, further cementing her status as the most decorated female player in the association's history. Marian obtained the bronze medal in the Southeast Asian Games in 2011 and 2021 and a gold medal in the 2018 Bahrain ITF Women's Double Tournament. She reached her highest individual ranking, #1, reaching #1 at the age of 15. Marian was also the Philippine #1 ranked player in the girls 14 and under category in 2010, the 16 and under in 2011, the 18 and under in 2012, and the #1 ranked women's singles player in 2012. She held the Philippine women's #1 spot from 2016 to 2022. Mr. President, these are real-life heroes who deserve the spotlight, shining examples for the next generation of athletes from humble beginnings and who continue to stay humble despite their exceptional achievements. Again, I congratulate Johnny Arcilla and Marian Cappadocia for their well-deserved recognition as PCA Hall of Famers and for their contribution to Philippine tennis and Philippine sports. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair joins and other members of the Senate as well join Senator Pia Cayetano in congratulating Johnny Arcilla and Marian Cappadocia for their exceptional achievements. Majority Floor Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, with that, I move that we adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 1299 and 1300.
Any objection? Hearing none, proposed Senate Resolution number 1299 and 1300 is hereby adopted.
And I move that all senators present be made co-authors of the said resolution.
So ordered. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, at this juncture, we are in a receipt of the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 9989. This is the bill on the revised Don Honorio Ventura State University Charter. And with that, Mr. President, on behalf of the chairperson of the Senate panel, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, may I be recognized, Mr. President, to give the highlights of the Conference Committee
On
report.
behalf of Senator Cayetano. You may proceed, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, on behalf of the Senate panel and the Senate panel head, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing votes of House Bill number 9989 and the revised Don Honorio Ventura State University Charter, I am pleased, Mr. President, to report in this August chamber the successful outcome of the Conference Committee. By strengthening the charter of DHVSU, or DABSU, a century-old tertiary education institution in Pampanga, we are taking a step toward social quality and fostering development across the provinces. Among all the efforts of the government, education has proven time and again to be the great equalizer, the most powerful tool for Filipinos to uplift themselves and build a better future no matter their background. The new charter will not only rename and elevate DABSU as the Pampanga State University, it will also expand its academic programs as well as update the composition and powers of its governing board. These changes will enhance the university's ability to provide quality, accessible education to more Kapampangans and students in Central Luzon. Situated in a growing economic hub, this ensures that the university can continue to produce graduates who will drive businesses, NGOs, and institutions forward. The conferees, Mr. President, agreed to adopt HBN 9989 as amended by the Senate as the working draft in the bicameral conference committee meeting. Among the highlights of the reconciled version is the addition of a Vice President for Academic Affairs under Section 9. The Vice President for Academic Affairs will assist the President of Pampanga State University alongside the Vice President for Administration and Finance, Vice President for Research, Innovation, Training, and Extension, and the Vice President for Student Affairs and Services. All references to the university were also changed to Pampanga State University in the reconciled version. Mr. President, the changes in the working draft which we stated in the joint explanatory statement are reflected in the contents of the conference committee report. And so with that, Mr. President, I move that the joint explanatory statement be read into the records forming part of my report and that the result of the conference committee be ratified by this body.
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved. The conference committee report on the disagreeing provisions of House Bill number 9989 is hereby approved and ratified. Congratulations to the sponsor and author.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As for minutes,
Session is suspended.
Mr. President, at this juncture, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 2975 under Committee Report number 522. This is the bill on the revised Animal Welfare Act. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of the bill is now in order.
Mr. President, having sponsored the measure, may we recognize the distinguished sponsor, Senator Grace Poe, in opening the period of interpellations and debate. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpellation is now open. Are there any registered interpellators?
Mr. President, there being no member who wishes to interpolate or ask any questions, I move that we close the period of interpellations and debate. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpellation and debate is now closed.
May I now move to open the period of amendments?
Period of amendments now closed. Open rather.
Are there any amendments, Mr.
There are
President?
no individual amendments.
There are no committee or individual amendments. I therefore, there is no member who wishes to propose any amendments. I move to close the period of amendments. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of individual and committee amendments now closed.
Mr. President, at this juncture, I move that we approve on second reading Senate Bill number 2975, subject to style. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senate Bill number 2975 is approved on second reading. Congratulations to the sponsor and author. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, at this juncture, I move that we transfer from the calendar for ordinary business to the calendar for special orders, Committee Report number 526. On Senate Bill number 2981, this is the bill providing for a new charter of the Land Bank of the Philippines. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Senate Secretary is directed to read the title only of the measure without prejudice to inserting the entire text thereof into the records.
An act providing for a new charter of the Land Bank of the Philippines, repealing for the purpose Section 74 to 100 of Republic Act Number 3844 or the Agricultural Land Reform Code as amended.
To sponsor the
Majority
measure, Mr. President, I move to recognize our distinguished Deputy Majority Leader, Senator Mark Villar, Chairperson of the Senate Committee on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies, to deliver his sponsorship speech. So moved, Mr. President.
Senator Villar is recognized. You may proceed, sir.
Mr. President, I rise to the occasion of sponsoring Senate Bill number 2981 under Committee Report number 526, otherwise known as an act providing for a new charter for the Land Bank of the Philippines. Created in 1963, the Land Bank of the Philippines, or LBP, played a crucial part in shifting agrarian reform policies. Its functions have evolved to include commercial banking, direct credit support for agrarian reform beneficiaries, and more recently, economic recovery efforts from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. As a policy bank, LBP's core operations are grounded on sustainable development, responding to the financing requirements of small farmers and fisherfolk and MSMEs, among other sectors, that create employment and propel economic growth. With this new charter, LBP envisions contributing not only to developmental programs for the countryside, but also to countrywide and national programs. As of today, LBP in all 82 provinces and 533 branches, 74 branch-light units, 3,112 ATMs, 60 lending centers, 55 accounting centers, and 14 field support service centers. LBP is also committed to enhancing its digital infrastructure to meet the evolving needs of its customers. As of June 2024, LBP's major digital channel usage increased to 63%, with a total of 1.96 trillion pesos worth of transactions. In the same period, LBP extended loans amounting to 1.56 trillion to various sectors, particularly the farmers, fisherfolk, and agribusiness. LBP has 709.31 billion in outstanding loans, making up 45% of its total loan portfolio. On top of these, in 2023, the LPP achieved record remittances of 32.119 billion, making it the #1 GOCC in terms of dividends remitted to the national government. Mr. President, these achievements have encouraged this representation to pursue this measure, granting the LBP a standalone charter to significantly enhance its financial and institutional framework, expand capital raising abilities, and streamline its operational processes. Mr. President, here are some of the important features of the bill. The establishment of a standalone charter realigns the LBP's mandate with various functions that go beyond agrarian reform, enhancing its role as a GFI that serves key sectors. Features that improve access to capital, such as an increase in authorized capital stock and the potential for an initial public offering. These will allow LBP to expand its operations, raise capital without further government funding, and enhance its ability to support development programs. The diversified board of directors of 9 members will now include the NEDA Secretary as a new ex-officio member and 3 independent directors, 1 from the agricultural sector and 2 from the private sector, with 2 additional directors in case private persons acquire shares of the bank. This creates a balanced leadership to navigate the dynamic landscape of the banking industry and ensures proper representation. Lastly, the engagement in financial leasing will help stimulate economic activity by facilitating the acquisition of movable and immovable assets needed for government projects. Mr. President, this representation hopes that this august chamber gives its unyielding support for this proposed measure to provide Land Bank with a streamlined charter, something that I know most of us here believe is long overdue. Before I conclude, I would also like to thank our dear colleague, Senator Cynthia Villar, and of course our Senate President, Chis Escudero, for your authorship of similar bills. Mr. President, let us help Land Bank amplify its contribution to the nation. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Mr. President, to allow our colleagues to study further the measure, I move that we suspend consideration of the said measure. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Ito? Ano ka na, admin? Some admin matters, Mr. President. Senator Ligarda would like to insert into the records her explanation of vote for Senate Bill number 2699 on Konektadong Pinoy Act. And may this representation also be made one of the authors of SBN 890. Thank you, Mr. President.
Duly noted and entered into the records.
Mr. President, this juncture, I move that we proceed to the Senate President's designation of Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of Senate Bill number 2893 and House Bill number 6452, the bills on the Virology Institute of the Philippines Act. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. The following members are hereby designated as Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2893 and House Bill number 6452 as follows. Senator Pia Cayetano as chairperson, Senator Alan Cayetano, Senator Joel Villanueva, Senator Joseph Victor Ejercito, and Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel on the part of the minority. So ordered.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. At this juncture, I move that we proceed to the Senate President's designation of Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of Senate Bill number 2558 and House Bill number 11355, the bills on the Livestock, Poultry, and Dairy Industry Development and Competitiveness Act. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. The following members are hereby designated as Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of Senate Bill number 2558 and House Bill number 1135 as follows. Senator Cynthia Villar as chairperson, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel on the part of the minority. So ordered.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we proceed to the Senate President's designation of Senate conferees to the bicameral, to the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of Senate Bill number 2699 and House Bill number 6, the bills on the Konektadong Pinoy Act. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, the motion is approved. The following members are hereby designated as Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2699 and House Bill number 6, namely Senator Alan Peter Cayetano as chairperson, Senator Grace Poe, Senator Win Gatchalian, this representation, and Senator Aquilino Pimentel on the part of the minority. So ordered.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. May I ask for a minute suspension?
Session is suspended.
gentleman from Cavite, Senator Ramon Bong Revilla, is seeking the floor. I move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
The gentleman is recognized to make his manifestation of record. You may proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a short manifestation. As Chair of the Committee on Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation, may I manifest that the following bills, Senate Bill number 2007 and Senate Bill number 2503, be referred to a subcommittee to be thus created for the purpose of hearing the same, with Senator J.V. Ejercito as chair of the subcommittee. That's all, Mr. President.
Duly noted and entered into the records. Thank you, Senator Revilla. Majority Floor Leader.
We move for the reference of business, Mr. President.
Session is suspended for a minute. Majority Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we proceed with the additional reference of business, just some admin matters, Mr. President. Senator Ligarda would like to insert into the records her co-sponsorship speech for resolution number 1300. So move, Mr. President.
Noted and entered into the
Mr.
records.
President, I moved for the previous motion. We proceed with the reference of business.
Secretary is directed to comply.
Committee Report Number 531, prepared and submitted by the Committees on Justice, Human Rights, Civil Service, Government Reorganization, and Professional Regulation. Yeah, to the ordinary business. Yes. In substitution of Senate Bills Number 2623, 2732, Senate Bill Number 2987, entitled An Act Strengthening the Legal Staff of the Department of Justice, renaming it as the Office of the Chief State Counsel, redefining, expanding, rationalizing, and further professionalizing its organization and appropriating funds therefore, sponsor Senator Aquilino Pimentel.
To the calendar for ordinary business. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, this juncture I move that we transfer from the calendar for ordinary business to the calendar for special orders. Committee Report Number 531 on Senate Bill Number 2987. This is the bill on the Office of the Chief State Counsel Act. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Our
Pres-
Minority Floor Leader is recognized to deliver his sponsorship speech. You may proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, my dear colleagues, I stand before you today to sponsor and humbly seek your support for the passage of Senate Bill Number 2987 under Committee Report Number 531. The title of which is An Act Strengthening the Legal Staff of the Department of Justice, renaming it as the Office of the Chief State Counsel, redefining, expanding, rationalizing, and further professionalizing its organization and appropriating funds therefore. The 1987 Constitution of the Philippines mandates the President to ensure that our laws be faithfully executed. To ensure the faithful compliance provided under our Constitution, the Administrative Code created the Department of Justice to be the principal law agency that shall be both its legal counsel and its prosecutorial arm. These core functions of the DOJ are performed by the two main offices within the DOJ proper, the legal staff, serving as the legal counsel, and the National Prosecution Service, NPS, as the prosecution arm. With the growing mandate of the Secretary of Justice, the functions of the state counsels and employees of the DOJ legal staff have evolved and grown exponentially. It now serves as the backbone of the DOJ, silent yet indispensable warriors for justice. While their work may often take place behind desks and within the intricate papers of legal research, their impact resonates across our justice system and society as a whole. Pero sila po ay napag-iwanan in terms of salary and benefits with their counterpart in the department. In the words of our Chief State Counsel, Dennis Arvin L. Chan, our State Counsel's work is anything and everything legal or having legal implications. Kaagapay natin sila sa pagpasa ng mga makabuluhang batas para sa ikabubuti ng ating bayan. The DOJ legal staff, in fact, participated or has participated in the passage of several game-changing landmark laws such as Number 1, RA number 12065 or the Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act. Number 2, RA number 9160 or the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2001. Number 3, RA number 11641 or the Department of Migrant Workers Act. And number 4, RA number 12064 or the Philippine Maritime Zones Act. I just mentioned these laws as examples, but the listing is not comprehensive, Mr. President. When I was the Committee on Foreign Relations Chairman, they served as my legal advisors in the concurrence of important treaties such as the treaty between the Republic of the Philippines and the Russian Federation on extradition, and the treaty between the Republic of the Philippines and the Russian Federation on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters. And what greater contribution can we make than to ensure the passage of this vital measure, paving the way for meaningful change and a better future for our state councils and employees of the DOJ legal staff. The salient features of the proposed measure are: first, renaming the DOJ legal staff created under RA 2705 as amended by RA number 4152 as the Office of the Chief State Counsel. Second, it now clarifies the existing powers and functions of the DOJ legal staff. Third, we are providing qualifications for the state councils. Fourth, we are upgrading the position, ranks, and salary grades of the state councils. Fifth, we are providing the retirement and survivorship benefits to the DOJ legal staff, the same way that we are providing for their counterparts with the DOJ National Prosecution Services. And lastly, we are allowing automatic increase of all pension benefits of state councils, same as their counterpart DOJ National Prosecution Services. As we move forward, let us reaffirm our commitment to justice by empowering our DOJ state councils, strengthening their capacities, and ensuring that they continue to serve with excellence and honor. Justice is not just a principle, it is a responsibility. And together, we carry that responsibility forward. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President and my dear colleagues.
Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, to allow our colleagues to study further the measure, I move that we suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 2987. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, at this juncture,
Reference.
I move that we proceed with the additional reference of business.
Secretary is directed to comply.
Resolution, PSR number 1311, resolution congratulating and commending Dr. Beverly Lorraine Ho for being the recipient of the Leadership Award in Public Health Practice in the 2024 Harvard Chan School of Public Health Alumni Awards by Senator Lapid.
The Committee on Rules.
PSR number 1312, resolution urging the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the visa-related issues faced by the Philippine national athletes and their coaches, which adversely affect their training and participation in international tournaments by Senator Cayetano P.
The Committee on Sports.
Committee reports. Committee report number 530 submitted jointly by Committees on Higher Technical and Vocational Education, Ways and Means and Finance on House Bill number 10405, introduced by Representative Ecleo et al., an act establishing a state college in the Lone District of the Province of Dinagat Islands and appropriating funds therefore, recommending its approval with amendment. Sponsor Senator Cayetano Alan.
To the calendar rather for ordinary business. Resolutions wala kaya?
Certification na ako. Certification. Hindi kailangan.
Session is suspended. Resumed. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, before we adjourn, may I remind our colleagues that there is a standing resolution, resolution number 21, entitled Resolution Authorizing All Regular Standing Committees, Oversight Committees, and Special Committees of the Senate to conduct hearing, meetings, and consultations during every recess of the Senate to have continuity in the process of passing pending proposed legislations and to conduct investigations on issues of national interest to aid in crafting relevant legislation. At this juncture, Mr. President, I move that we adjourn the session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Monday, June 2, 2025. So move, Mr. President.
There is a motion. Win. Is there any objection? There being none, session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Monday, June 2, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to our staff and Senate employees. Mabuhay ang Senado.